Welcome back for another video. In this video we're going to answer all the hottest topics ahead of Gameweek 17. Loads to cover this week, including what to do with Haaland, taking hits, the experts transfers and more. If you're subscribed, look for a post taking your questions every Wednesday, or you can go to the community tab on my channel to find it. Let's get into it. Starting with the big one then, and certainly the most difficult one to answer. David asks, should I take Haaland out for a -4 hit, and which forward should I transfer in his place? The sensible thing to do is to wait until Pep's press conferences and wait for further news, though we know that Pep can be vague. If you haven't watched the team selection video yesterday, I strongly recommend watching the segment on Haaland and why I personally sold him. This one really comes down to interpretation. There's going to be a lot of differing views on keeping him or selling him. My view is that everything points towards him missing Gameweek 17, so therefore we don't see him till Gameweek 19 at the earliest, so as such I sold him for a -4 myself. If that backfires, I'll be back on next week's videos holding my hand up to that one. Given the potential to miss the next 2 game weeks or maybe more, plus his massive ownership, it feels like a huge opportunity to take on those that are keeping him. The 2 standout replacements are Watkins and Solanke. I'd rank them in that order, Watkins first. Watkins playing for a better attacking side, and perhaps the best captain in Gameweek 18 when he's home to Sheffield United. Solanke's home to Luton this game week, and then away to Forest, and then he's home to Fulham in Gameweek 19 if Haaland's still not back. So if you've got Watkins, then Solanke's the one. Whether it's worth a hit also depends on who you've got to play if Haaland misses out. If you've got a strong bench, then it's less pressing. In my case, my bench was also very weak, so I've taken the leap and I've sold him. Noah asks if Trent's rediscovered attacking form makes him fixture proof. He's definitely fixture proof. Trent can get a return in absolutely any fixture. Though naturally, in some of the tougher upcoming games, there is less clean sheet potential. If you've got no Haaland, or if you're selling him, then Trent's a great pick. We'll talk about AFCON and the Asian Cup later in this video. After we lose Salah and Son, many of us are going to redistribute the money, and it'll probably be Trent and Trippier that come in a lot of our teams. Over the last 6 game weeks, Trent's second among all defenders for expected goal involvement with 2.46 XGI. Pedro Porro is actually first with 2.84, which underlines what an amazing pick he is right now. When you're paying 8.2 mil for a defender though, you do need clean sheets. And there is an observable improvement in Liverpool's defence. They've really clicked recently. From Gameweek 1 to 8, they kept 1 clean sheet and they were 10th for expected goals conceded. From Gameweek 9 until now, they've kept 4 clean sheets and they're 2nd for expected goals conceded. Trent's appeal has always been the combination of clean sheets and attacking threat, and at by far the highest price he's ever been, 8.2 mil, the clean sheets are important. Conpab asks whether Richarlison's a good pick. A brace in the win over Newcastle for a 15-pointer, and Postecoglou's had nothing but good things to say about him, and he's only 6.6 mil. We've got 4 more game weeks of Son before he heads off for the Asian Cup. The goals are going to have to come from somewhere, and Richarlison should be their main scorer in his absence, so yeah, he's a great pick. Spurs have got a nice block of fixtures as well right now, their next 4 being Forest, Everton, Brighton and then Bournemouth. Longer term, after Son departs, the fixtures stay good as well. You could argue that they're also going to struggle for goals a bit in Son's absence. They might see a percentage drop in goals scored, but Richarlison might see a percentage increase in his involvement, so it could all level out, and at 6.6 mil it's a great price. Let's have a look at the experts transfers and what they're doing this week. The full experts video will be out on Friday morning breaking everything down, so make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out. Interestingly, lots are selling Haaland. The 2 they're replacing him with are Watkins and Solanke. As we said earlier, Watkins in theory the priority pick, and then you've got to pick Solanke if you've already got Watkins. They're not all selling Haaland though. We'll break down the percentages tomorrow. Many are taking the risk on the opportunity though. James is out injured for 3 months sadly. It could be longer if he decides to get surgery, and they're selling him for Pedro Porro. He's also 5.4 mil. Very logical move this week if you've got James. Some are selling Darwin for Watkins. You could make the case for giving Darwin 1 more week against the Man United side in poor form, and missing Bruno with suspension, and potentially Maguire and Shaw of injury. Mbeumo is still sidelined with injury for a while, and a few of the experts are getting round to selling him this week, and they're looking at Richarlison. Palace have hit a poor patch of form, and they've got a bad patch of fixtures coming up. The Guehi owners are selling him for Pau Torres. He's also 4.6 mil. He's got reasonable chance of a clean sheet against Brentford without Mbeumo, and then he's got Sheffield United home in Gameweek 18. So lots of talk about AFCON and the Asian Cup. Jota asks if we should start looking for ways to replace our players involved. I've made a table of players called up, the likes of Salah, Son, Mitoma and Mbeumo. They'll be away after Gameweek 20, so it's pretty straightforward until then. There's no need to sell players till they're gone. Unless you've got other reasons to sell of course, but Salah and Son look perfectly fine to hold. There's a great graphic from Rob TFPL here which shows when both competitions start and the return days, depending on how far they progress in the cups. South Korea could certainly have a deep cup run, and if they make the final then we likely won't see Son until Gameweek 26, so 5 game weeks without him. And likewise, if Egypt can go all the way, no Salah for a while. Son's got Bournemouth home before he leaves, so don't sell him till after then. Salah's got Newcastle home, which is a tougher game, and you could perhaps make the case for selling him then if there's a good transfer available, like bringing Haaland back in if he's out till then. The best thing to do is to try and get into position with 2 free transfers as they're departing, so you can act fast on the changes. We're going to get a complete shake up to the template, which is a good thing actually, because those who respond to it fastest will benefit massively. We'll no doubt see Trippier and Trent's ownership shoot up, and with Newcastle out of Europe completely, there's less midweek football for Trippier. Could be a season keeper. Question from Lump Shorts, he says, any idea what I should get my girlfriend for Christmas? I'm not sure, the only thing I'm good for is FPL tips, sorry. Rare Terror and many others sent questions about wildcards this week. I've put together a draft which I'll run through in a second. He asked, when's the last time you can use it, and what are the pros and cons of using it now or later? The last chance you have to use your wildcard is into Gameweek 20 or it's lost. After then we all get our second wildcard. In terms of when to use it, if I still had mine I'd activate it right now rather than wait. Many were anticipating a potential double Gameweek 21 for Brentford and Man City, which hasn't been announced. It's looking like double Gameweek 24 or 25 at the earliest now. So the strategy many had in mind was to sell Brentford and Man City assets into blank Gameweek 18 and then wildcard them back in. However, Mbeumo's injured, no double Gameweek 21 and potentially Haaland injured means in my eyes now's a prime opportunity. Here's a wildcard team I've put together. Dubravka in goal, though we do have Neto on the bench, so make a call on which keeper. Saliba, Trent and Powell is the back 3. In midfield, Son, Salah, Palmer, Saka, and up top is a front 3 of Watkins, Solanke and Alvarez. The bench is Gordon, Trippier and Gusto. It doesn't look great with 3 flag players on the bench. However, Howe said that Gordon told him he thinks he's fine, and you'd bench him for this week anyway. Trippier is back from suspension after this weekend, and Gusto is expected back shortly as well, and he's perhaps the best Chelsea defender now with James out for 3 months. The risk of this team is there's no easy way to get back to Haaland unless selling Salah. So if Haaland's back by Gameweek 20, you could sell Salah before Newcastle, and then buy Haaland before he's home to Sheffield United. Lastly, here's how my final team looks for Gameweek 17. 2 transfers locked in for the first -4 of the season. Kabore to Pedro Porro and Haaland to Solanke, 8.1 mil in the bank. Dubravka in goal, who started for Newcastle in the Champions League by the way, which is great to see after he'd not been seen in training. Pedro Porro, Saliba and Tsimikas in defence. Palmer, Saka, Gordon, Salah and Son midfield. Solanke and Watkins up top. Salah captain just looks too good to ignore given Man United's injuries, their current form and Bruno suspended. Son vice captain. Haaland's availability could really make or break how the game goes, especially on a -4. Let us know in the comments if you're keeping Haaland or if you're going to sell, and likewise what your plan is if we get no news from Pep, indicating if he makes the game or not. That's something to consider as well. Thanks very much for watching. If this video was helpful, drop it a like to support the channel and make sure you subscribe. First thing tomorrow, we'll run through all the experts' data and their team. See you soon for the next one.